Okay, so it is noon right now. I think we're going to get started. My name is Marissa. I'm an attorney at the Clark County Public Defender's Office, and Julia has asked me to start this meeting off, or start this CLE off. The format is going to be as follows. I'm going to discuss IA court, a little bit of Valdez-Jimenez and some problems that I've been seeing, and then I'm going to turn it over to the bail project, and they're going to take over. So as I mentioned, my name is Marissa. I am one of two attorneys that staffs initial appearance court. The other attorney is Josie Baidon. And to give you a little bit, I know a lot of people know this, but I want to just kind of give a refresher or a primer for our friends at the Bail Project. So initial appearance court is a court that meets twice a day, every single day, 365 days a year. So this is a court that is helping get our clients out of custody faster. So the way it works, your client gets arrested, a police report is generated, they go to the jail, they are processed, and within 12 to 18 hours, our clients are seeing a judge. Oh, and also, can everyone mute their mics too? I think there's a lot of feedback, so just remember to mute your mic. Okay, so 12 to 18 hours after the arrest, they are seeing a judge. Can everybody hear me? Yeah, okay, should I start over? I don't know if everyone heard me. Okay, we're good. So 12 to 18 hours after arrest, they're going to the IA court and they're seeing a judge, and a custody hearing is happening. Now, it's important to remember that this is a pre-complaint custody hearing. So these people are arrested, but no complaint has been filed yet. So a number of different things can happen at this custody hearing. The first thing that can happen is our clients can be detained without bail. Now, that is not for every client. That is for a specific few, a parole hold, probation hold, or they had an open case, and the new case that they're in front of the judge for is a felony. In those very specific situations, the judge can detain them for 2 days. Now, the best thing that can happen, of course, is an own recognizance release. There's also an OR with intensive supervision. That's a telephonic check-in once a week. And there is also different forms of electronic monitoring. It's a GPS ankle bracelet. There's also bail, which we'll talk about in a second. And finally, there are some things that the prosecutor can do that will generate a release. That would be either a DA denial after they've read the police report, they're denying the charges, or a request from the district attorney for further time for investigation. They need more information, they need judgments of convictions, whatever. So now at this hearing, if the state is moving forward, at that point, we are having a hearing on their custody, basically. So I want to I guess I went through that pretty quick. Oh, I want to talk about what happened actually before we had initial appearance court. Initial appearance court is very new. It is something that began in January of 2019. Prior to that, the way things worked is that our clients would be arrested. They would have to wait 72 hours for their initial appearance or their initial arraignment. At that time, a complaint should have been generated. If a complaint was not generated, they'd be kicked, they'd be done, they'd be OR. The problem with that is that 72 hours is not 72 hours from the time they're arrested to the time that they see the judge. It is judicial days, or judicial hours. So we would have clients that unfortunately would get arrested on a Friday night, Saturday weekend. They're not being seen before a judge until well into the next week. At that time, the collateral consequences of being held are being felt by those individuals, whether it's a lost job, losing their housing, whatever. So initial appearance court has been such an excellent tool that I'm really proud of to be a part of. I do want to say as well, so now we have the 12 to 18 hours after these clients are being seen almost every single day. We're within a day of being arrested, which is excellent. So the way the system works now, as I mentioned, the 12 to 18 hours, but we still do have standard bail. So when a client is arrested, standard bail is set at the jail. So the people that I'm seeing in IA court, these are individuals that cannot make the standard bail. Or in some circumstances, it's individuals that have a bail that must be set by a judge. So that's certain felonies, sex assault, lewdness with a child, things like that. But by and large, that's not the majority of what I'm seeing. The majority of the people that we see in IA court are individuals that have a bail set whether it be $3,000, $5,000, $20,000, they cannot make that bail. So I want to move in now. So that happened January of 2019 is when we started IA court here in the office. And in April of 2020, the Valdez-Jimenez case came down. So for people, I'm sure, everyone that practices here, you're all very familiar with it, but I do want to have like a little refresher. So basically, the Nevada Supreme Court stated that after arrest, every single client is required to have a prompt, individualized hearing on custody with the assistance of an attorney. They did not necessarily define prompt, but we're still operating within the 12 to 18 hours after arrest. So when the judge addresses bail at the individualized hearing, I'm going to read this. What they need to consider first, because I think it's important language from this from the case, whether given the individual circumstances of the defendant, including his or her character and ties to the community, his or her community or criminal history, and the nature and potential sentence for the alleged offenses, release on personal recognizance or subject to non-monetary conditions would be sufficient to reasonably ensure the purposes of bail are met. If so, then no bail should be set, as that would be excessive. So this is really signaling to the court that they need to do that, not only have that hearing, but really consider the factors and see if there are less restrictive means to a bail. If so, you gotta let them go. I've been seeing more releases, I think, since Valdez-Jimenez has come down, which is excellent. So basically, if the court finds that no combination of non-monetary conditions would be sufficient to reasonably ensure, one, the defendant's appearance, so how likely are they to come back to court, and two, protecting the community. Within that second subsection, protecting the community, they always do consider safety to the specific victim in domestic violence type cases. So if those two things happen, if they cannot find that those two things can happen, then the court must determine what bail is necessary. So Valdez-Jimenez specifically states that the court must consider the financial situation or financial standing of the client when setting a bail. The way they do that is through information that the defense provides to them. So I interview all the clients beforehand. And in addition to that, a financial affidavit that is generated by pretrial services. Unfortunately, I have a suspicion that pretrial services is really just not taking that very seriously, those interviews. I will constantly get information on the financial affidavits that differs from the information that my clients are telling me. The financial affidavit is usually less favorable. They'll say that the clients are unemployed. My clients will tell me I've been working at Walmart for the last 3 years, whatever. So, I mean, why there's a discrepancy there, I don't know. But this becomes an issue later on in the event we have a client that is not present and all I'm relying on is a financial affidavit. If that information is not accurate, it becomes a problem. Another very important thing I want to talk about with Valdez-Jimenez is that it places the burden squarely on the state. So prior to Valdez-Jimenez, NRS 178.045 subsection 1 stated that the onus was on the defense. If the defense could show a good reason for the client to be released, then there could be an OR. That language has been struck, okay? It's not on us at all. It is the state's burden. And we really need to make sure that we're holding them to that burden. And that's what we try to do in IA court. So I want to move on now to some problems that I'm seeing in IA court, and hopefully we're working on them. So obviously the first one I mentioned is about the burden. And I guess I didn't mention this, but the burden shifting. So although it states in Valdez-Jimenez that the burden is placed on the state, it does feel a lot of times like the burden shifts back to the defense to show reason why a certain individual should be released when the state has not made their burden, or has met their burden, I should say. Another problem we have in initial appearance court is the age-old problem of outcomes being driven by personality. So certain judges will see things differently. Some judges with the same set of facts will release individuals. Other judges will set a $10,000 bail. So that little nugget that is in the Valdez-Jimenez case about having to consider the financial situation but you do not have to actually set a bail that is affordable, that becomes a big problem because the judges will consider, oh, okay, I hear that your client is making $10 an hour and is part-time, or $12 an hour and is part-time and has no money in savings, but I still think that a $20,000 bail is appropriate. What do you do with that? I mean, there's a lot of discretion that's left to the judges despite the case law. There's also a lot of arbitrariness that I'm seeing. So I'm hoping that the Bail Project can assist us with some of our clients that end up stuck because they just can't make the bail and because of some arbitrary decision, in my opinion. Another issue we're seeing is, as I mentioned, like the financial affidavit's not matching the actual information I'm getting from a client. That can be exacerbated, or that problem is exacerbated if I have actually no financial affidavit and no client. That happens every single day, multiple times on calendar. I have no information to go off of. And so I always make a record, that I don't think that this is a procedurally correct Valdez-Jimenez hearing, that is procedurally deficient, because without the financial affidavit and without the client's presence, we're unable to ascertain this person's financial standing as required for Valdez-Jimenez. Doesn't matter. They move forward anyway, but I always try to mark on the paperwork, you need to have another hearing, that this is not proper. And I'm hoping that that information for the private attorneys, I don't know if that makes it to you, but I mark everything on our paperwork and the paperwork goes to the next court. So hopefully you guys are getting that. If not, if our attorneys can hand it over, if private attorneys end up stepping in, that'd be great. That is all I have to say about initial appearance court and Valdez-Jimenez right now. So just kind of a little brief introduction. I'd like to now hand it over to the Bail Project.
Thank you, Marissa. Thanks for all of the tremendous work you've been doing to get people out as early on in the process. At the Bail Project, we are incredibly grateful to be able to work with attorneys like yourself and all of the folks on this call to support in your efforts to secure freedom for clients, which we know has a massive impact on their ability to fight their case going forward. And we've seen that in many of our jurisdictions. Over 90% of our clients experience no additional jail time after we get them out. And so we know that it really has an impact on their freedom, of course, in that particular moment, but also for their long-term freedom. And so we're really grateful that you all have invited us into Las Vegas. Thank you to Darren and Virginia and Wences and Julia for all of your work so far and helping us get set up and started. We have a presentation that explains a bit more about who we are and what we do. And I'll turn it over to my colleague Miriam. My name's Patrick, by the way. I'm our site launch coordinator. And I'll turn it over to my colleague Miriam, who works on my team, to give a little bit of an overview and then introduce the other team members who are on this call. Miriam?
Yes, thank you, Patrick. Hi, everyone. My name is Miriam Villalobos. I'm an operations associate, and we're just thrilled to have today. We'll be going a presentation, which is a two-part. I'll be going over like an overview of the Bail Project and kind of the footprint of who we are and how we operate at a national level. And then I'll pass it back over to Patrick, who'll go more into depth about how we plan to support clients here in Las Vegas. So at this point, I'm going to share my screen. Give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen so I can show the presentation that we have. Great, I think you all should be able to see that. Great. So a quick overview of the Bail Project is that we are a national bail fund. We are a national effort that started back in 2018. Our goal really is to bail out as many individuals as possible who are in pretrial detention simply because they're unable to post their own bonds. Our model is kind of like a twofold model where on the one hand, we provide the direct bail assistance to thousands of people every year. And the other part of it is we work to push for an end to money bail and the unjust pretrial practices through multiple advocacy efforts that really include elevating the stories of our clients and their experiences. And so the way that this works is that we work as a revolving bail fund. Now, I'm sure many of you are familiar with revolving bail fund. The concept is very simple. The bail is set. We pay bail for individual, and if that individual comes back to all their court dates and their case concludes, then at that point we get that money back, and we're able to use that same money to post bond for somebody else. That typically means that in a year, we're able to use every dollar that's donated to us anywhere from 1 to 2 times a year. That's how typically it revolves. Although during COVID, that's kind of shifted a little bit. Cases may be taking a little bit longer, but nonetheless, it's a model that has continued to work. And we are fortunate to have sufficient funds to be able to continue to support as many people as possible. To this day, we have posted bond for over 15,000 individuals. And so hopefully we hope to add to that when we continue operating here. At this point, I want to allow our team to introduce themselves. This will be our Las Vegas team. We have Ashley and we have Lisette. So I'll give them a couple of minutes to introduce themselves. Ashley, do you want to start off?
Yes. So hello, everyone. My name is Ashley Noel Pruitt. I have been in Las Vegas for going on 10 years now, and the last 7 of which I spent in government at Department of Health and Human Services, including the Division of Children and Family Services, Juvenile Justice, and Aging and Disability Services. I'm very excited to partner with you all and to help our community navigate these life moments with support and dignity. So I'm just looking forward to see how we are able to grow together.
Great, thank you, Ashley. And Lisette, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Lisa Gaeta. I'm the regional director here with the Bail Project. I help support our sites that are on the West Coast here, and we'll be helping to support our team in Las Vegas to get the site up and running.
Thank you, Lisette and Ashley. Forward, I do want to say that we will be opening it up for questions. There's a chat box with Webinex, but if there is, you can chat them. If not, we'll make sure to also open it up for questions towards the end. So we certainly will hold space for that.
There is a chat feature, and if you go to your lower right-hand corner, you can click on that. It's right near the participants tab, and then you'll be able to see those and respond.
Awesome. I figured. Thank you, Julia. Great. So how this will be kind of like a framework of how we work. And so it's an overview of our model and how we have different stages. So in each of our sites, we do have staff on the ground who we call bail disruptors. These are staff that work directly with clients to support them while for bailing them out and then supporting them after release during the pendency of their cases. And so in Las Vegas, that will be Ashley. Ashley is on the ground. As she said, she is in Las Vegas. She's lived there for a while. And she will be working with you all each day to kind of sort through those referrals, identify individuals who we can post bond for, and then continue supporting them after they've been released and out of custody. And so once we have identified that we can post bond for an individual, we do our own research and we do our own process, gather more information about the client, and then we go on to interview the clients while they're still in pretrial custody. And so at this point, when we're interviewing the clients, what we're really looking for is for contact information. So how can we get in touch with this individual once they're out of custody? We want phone numbers, addresses, potentially anything that can help us to continue contact with individuals. And at the same time, we're also want to identify any needs that the clients have identified, whether that's substance use, mental health, housing, whatever that may be. We want to make sure that we know of that so that we know how to support those clients once they've they are out on bond. And so after we determine eligibility, we will proceed to pay the bond for an individual. It's important to note that we do pay the full cash amount. So we do pay the full cash amount of the bail. And so after an individual has been bailed out, we do follow-up work with those individuals. And so we continue to support clients in coming back to court. For that, we provide phone reminders and text reminders for their upcoming court dates. And then we also provide direct transportation to and from court. We do have a partnership with Lyft. So we do use share ride to bring clients back to court. We'll typically arrange that directly with the client. If clients prefer to have a bus pass, then we can also work to get them bus passes. And occasionally we will extend Lyft rides to other appointments that clients may have. But primarily that service is used to get clients to and from court. It's important to note that we're also not necessarily case managers. The only direct assistance that we provide clients is the bail assistance and the court reminders and the transportation to and from court. However, we do provide referrals to service providers. So we do want to work with local organizations who we could refer clients out to, who would help address some of those clients' needs. And so ultimately, the Bell Project, we want to put ourselves out of business, right? We don't want to be in the business forever. We want to eliminate cash bail. And so that means that we work directly with our clients and our policy team and our advocacy team to really figure out how we can uplift the stories of our clients, how we can use our data and the experience of the organization to challenge and initiate really pretrial changes in the pretrial system. And so as you imagine, that looks very different in each of our jurisdictions. And so in the future, in the near future, we would really hope to work alongside all of you to kind of figure how that would look here, particularly to Las Vegas or Nevada. This slide is an overview of our national footprint. Like I said, we are a national organization. We currently have about 25 different sites across the nation. Most of those sites are Bail Project operated. Some of the other sites, a handful of sites, are partnership sites. And in those partnership sites, we work with a local organization, and together we kind of work to disrupt the cash bail system and push for legislative change in that region as well in whatever way we can. And so I think if our website definitely has a lot more information and it's broken down into the different sites. So you could definitely access that if you were interested in learning a little bit more about that. And at this point, I'm going to pass it over to Patrick. We'll go more in specific about how we plan to assist clients, specifically here in Las Vegas. So Patrick, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Marian. So at this point, you're all wondering, how do I get my client out of jail with the Bail Project? And so here's a description of our criteria. We generally post bails, full cash bail, as my colleague Marian mentioned, $5,000 and below. If you have a candidate with a bond above $5,000, we will consider that person. And we recommend that you do refer that person to us through the referral process that I'll describe on the next slide. On our side, those bails, actually stay on the criteria slide. Thanks, Marian. On our side, those bails that are higher than $5,000 require a lengthier approval process. We just need to make sure that our support plan and our information about that client is really significant. So you can expect a faster response time to bails 5,000 and below. But we generally say if you have a bail about up to 10,000, we would ask that you refer it and we'll take a look at it. Above 10,000, it becomes much more challenging for us to post. As you know, we have limited financial resources, and we try to extend those as best as possible. So when we start to get to much higher bail amounts, we ask that you refer them if you feel like there's a particularly compelling case for why we should post bail for this person. In addition to the monetary amount, we are looking for a way of connecting with the client post-release. So we're looking for their phone number or the phone number of a friend or a family member or someone who they're connected to, so that we can remind them of courts, that we can support them in coming back. And we do get pretty creative about how we connect with clients. But that's another component of what we're looking for. We don't want to post bail for folks who are going to be held in by a hold or a warrant that will keep them in. So when you do refer folks, if you know that a hold exists or you know that they have an out-of-county warrant that's going to be executed, we would ask that you hold off on referring that person to us until that hold is lifted or until the warrant is resolved, so that when we do post bail, they will actually get out. If you don't have that information, that's okay. We're working with Clark County Detention Center to be able to access that information. But that's another component of how we do and don't post bail. And numbers 4 and 5, there are certain cases that are particularly high profile. They've already received media scrutiny, or there are some significant serious charges. And we have a second level of approval process for those types of cases, as well as cases that involve intentional physical violence. And those cases, we don't make charge-based distinctions. So it's not that we can't post for those cases. We just want to gather some more information about that case, so that we can be prepared to appropriately support the person, and to ensure that we really feel comfortable in carrying out that support plan. So in cases with intentional physical violence, you may receive a few questions back from Ashley about if there's a stay-away order, if they've had previous charges with the same complaining witness. Those are a few things that we take a deeper look at, and we really try to make sure that we have a plan for this person to go somewhere else. Obviously, if there's a stay away order, they have to. So we're going to make sure that we can get them somewhere else. We will actually transport them to that place right when they do get out of jail. And we'll just build a slightly more filled out support plan, just to make sure that we're comfortable posting and we feel like we can support that person going through. Miriam, if you could go to the next slide. Thank you. So the process is relatively simple. Client is arrested, they're booked into jail, they have their IA court appearance, they're either released or bond is set, or they're held without bond. And this is where you come in. So you can make a referral through our website, bailproject.org/public defender referral, and we'll make sure to circulate that link afterwards. And what that does is it automatically sends the referral to our staff, to Ashley on the ground, and it enters into our process. It's a relatively simple referral form, and it has a series of questions that you'll be asked to fill out. That's the quickest, fastest way to get information to us. So we really emphasize that that's the best way to use our services. We will, of course, share our emails and other ways of contacting us. If you don't get a response back or you have additional questions, you can always reach out to us over email or phone. Once we receive that referral, we will schedule an interview with the person to gather some more of that information about contact. We want to explain to them what the bail project is and that we may be able to post their bail. And we want to gather some of that additional needs information so that we can begin to create a plan of how we're going to refer them out to our social service partners. So we will go to CCDC and interview them through those video portals that I'm sure you're all perhaps too familiar with. And then we'll make a decision about whether we can bail them out after contacting their support contacts. After we bail them out, as Miriam described, we will continue to stay in touch with them. We'll remind them of their court dates, and we'll connect them to social service providers. And we'll do that all the way through their case. If they do miss court, we will try to get in touch with them again and support them in trying to resolve that warrant so that they can get back in and get back on track. Next slide, Miriam. Yeah, so as I said, go to the form on our website, bailproject.org/public defender referral. You can also just go to bailproject.org and click on the Teams page, and you can go to the Las Vegas page and refer people through that as well, but much easier just to go to Bail Public Defender Referral. There are a few key things to know. The form can be a bit finicky. So where it has additional instructions, just be careful to follow those. The one that trips people up the most is that in the total bond amount requested, don't put a comma in, don't put a $sign in, just put the number for the bail amount. For some reason, our web form has trouble with special characters. So just put in, if it's a $5,000 bail, 5000. Next slide. So throughout the person's case, as I mentioned, we're going to stay in touch with them. We will be reminding them of their court dates. Oftentimes, clients will come to see us as a resource. And so we're going to continually point them in your direction. We don't talk to clients about their cases. And we are very clear with clients that we are not protected by the same privilege that you all share with them. So if ever that comes up, we quickly refer them to you and say that's something you need to talk to your attorney about. So we may get questions or things like that from clients, and we'll just want to be able to email you and share those questions with you, and let you know that they've reached out to us on that behalf. The second piece it's important for us is just occasionally to be able to ask questions about the court process. As I mentioned, our clients see us as a resource, so we're able to give them general information of this is the court hearing that's coming up. You're expected to be here at this time, and sometimes we'll have questions about those processes, and we'll be able to do that over interview. As I mentioned, we don't talk to them about the content of their case, but it's just useful for us to be able to be in communication with you about the ongoing case. We know it's important for you to know that we've bailed somebody out, so we'll be sure to communicate that with you. And we're happy to continue to discuss other things that you might need from us. In some places, we work with public defenders as they go back later on in the case, kind of explain to folks what, to the court, what we've been able to do with clients to provide them with support. And public defenders find that useful. So we're happy to be a resource to you all if there's additional information that you need. We won't go to the court ourselves. We will make sure that you're looped in, and we don't, all of our services are voluntary, and we don't report our clients back to the court in any way. So we will always make sure to go through you first. It's pretty simple. Use the referral form, 5,000 and under, and you can refer those clients to us. Typically, we'll try to get back to you on each of the referrals within 24 to 48 hours. As we get started, please give us a little bit of time to get our feet underneath us. Ashley just joined on Monday, so she's new to the organization, and we'll have a 2-week training process. But following that training process, we should be able to respond pretty quickly. And then the bailout really depends on how quickly we're able to get in to interview a client and how much information that we're able to gather right away. So it can take, from the point at which we interview a person, we can post bail for them the next day, but it also might take 3 or 4 days depending on how complicated their support network is and what kind of services we need to provide. But I'll pause at this time to open it up for any questions, thoughts, concerns, and just want to say thank you again to the Public Defender's Office for welcoming us in, and we're really excited to get started. I see a question in the chat saying that courts will occasionally require source hearing to ensure that the funds for bail are not illegally obtained. Yes, we're happy to appear at court if that is necessary. We've also met with some of the judges in Las Vegas and communicated in the same way that we're communicating to you all about what we do. So hopefully they'll become familiar with our support and our services. But if necessary, we are able to appear and say that our operation is legal. Yeah. Great question. Roughly how many clients at one time do we expect to bail out? So our posting capacity ranges drastically based on the need that is expressed in various sites. Some of our sites post between 40 and 60 bales per month. Some of our sites post between 5 and 10 bales per month. And it really depends on what the need of that particular jurisdiction looks like. We try to post for everyone that we can. We're starting off with one staff member, Ashley, to kind of get our feet on the ground and understand what the need looks like. So I would expect at the beginning, we probably would be posting about 5 to 10 bales per month. If it's clear that the need is greater, we'll hire additional staff to be able to ramp up that posting. So start off slowly, 5 to 10 folks per month, and then we can quickly grow if necessary. Great question. It does not have to be a public defender referral. If you're a court-appointed attorney or a private attorney and the client can't make bail, please refer clients to us. You can use that same public defender referral form. It's probably more accurately described as an attorney referral form, just a defender attorney referral form. So you can use that same exact referral form. I will say that we're posting for folks in Clark County. So if there are people on this call from other counties in Nevada, we're not currently posting for those people. We may expand in the future to other counties, but we're starting with folks in Clark County. Yeah, Lisette makes a great point. We also accept referrals from the community. So if you know folks who have loved ones who are incarcerated, there is a community referral form on our website. We also have a phone number that people can call to refer clients to us. Additionally, we take referrals from our partner organizations. We've worked with the Foundation for Recovery, Salvation Army, Foundation for an Independent Tomorrow, Lutheran Community Services, and we communicate with them. Look, if you all have clients that you need to refer to us, please do. We find that you all, the public defenders, have the fastest access to people, but for sure, we're looking to take referrals from other sources. And I will say on that note, we don't need to get a referral for the person right away. We're hoping to get referrals from IA court directly so we can get people out as quickly as possible. Those first 3 days incarcerated are really some of the most dangerous times for people. But if you have clients who've been in for a while, the bail project wasn't available, who need our support now or in the near future, please don't hesitate to refer those clients to us. We're hoping to get people out. So, it doesn't matter if the person's been in for a week or a year, please refer them to us. The other thing I'll say on that point is occasionally we will work with public defenders to do bond reductions. So if you have a client who has a $20,000 bail, it's clear that they're not going to be able to pay that. We have occasionally been able to go with the public defender back to court and say, the bail project's willing to support this person. Here is our plan for supportive release. And so we've been able to participate in bond reductions in that capacity. So if you'd like to use us for that resource, you can still use that same referral form, but just please make a note that that's what you're seeking to do. And probably it would be best to follow up with an email to Ashley about that so that y'all can coordinate how to best do that. We haven't done that yet in Las Vegas, so we're going to learn alongside you what the best way is to make that happen.
If there are no more questions, you guys know my philosophy on this. There's no reason to make everyone sit and pretend until the minutes are up. After the CLE with the bail project's permission, I will send out a copy of the PowerPoint that they used. If it's their preference that we just send out a link to the forms and contact, you will all be receiving that. So you guys can look forward to getting that either later today or tomorrow morning. And other than that, our next of the lunch series will be next Thursday at noon. And as far as I'm concerned, it's probably the most important and significant one we've offered yet. It will be a introduction and coverage of the newly implemented criminal rules of procedure. So it is brand new to every single one of us. So we all need it. You will be receiving an invitation to that probably on Monday. So look for that in your inboxes. And as always, if there's any last minute questions, get them on there now before we close things down.
I see a fun question in the chat. I'll let Ashley answer it. It's, are the Las Vegas personnel excited in attending PD social events, happy hours, when they'll start happening again? My guess is yes, but Ashley?
I think that would be an awesome idea so that I can also get to know you guys as well and really, forge that relationship, which is important to making sure we're able to help our community. So let me know once Vegas starts opening back up again, and I'll do my best as long as I have time available for that.
Patrick.
The social committee.
Patrick, this is Darren Emily. I just wanted to thank you. We've been working on this for almost 2 years. Patrick's been fantastic with working with Virginia Wences and I to try to make this happen and try to get Bell Project to Las Vegas. And so we appreciate all his work throughout the past 2 years with COVID and everything else. So thanks, Patrick.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you for your persistence. And we're just really grateful to get started. It has been a long road, so we're going to hit the ground running.
There seems to be a question about how to donate. If you actually go to our website, bailproject.org, you'll find a link to donate. So yeah, feel free to share that with your network as well.
And if you'd like it to go specifically to Las Vegas, you can indicate that when you donate. So you can keep the money close to Las Vegas. Alternatively, if you do donate and you're not able to signify when you do donate, you can email giving@bailproject.org and say, hey, I just gave this amount of money. Can you please restrict that for Las Vegas?
I do see another question in there I think that we may have missed. It was asking, is someone working on bail issues on appeal?
I'm not sure that's a question for Bail Project.
As with all of our series that we offer, I have the CLE credit already approved, and I will report your attendance, everyone. And I already have everyone who has attended. There's no need to send through names or bar numbers. I've got everybody. Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks so much. And we'll, I'm sure, be talking with you soon. So thanks again.
Thank you again, everyone from the Bail Project. We are excited to get going with you. It's been a long time coming. So the community is excited.
Thank you all.
Thanks.